Hi, my name is Alexis. My audience is currently to the right of me,
And I will be talking about toxic masculinity.
So, one of the most non communicated yet thoroughly experienced topics is toxic masculinity. Most men have been taught or witnessed some form of toxic masculinity. The definition of toxic masculinity is referring to certain cultural norms that are associated with harm to society and to men themselves. When men are raised to be strong and to not cry because you're a man, it creates psychological issues that will expand into the future. Many of today's current issues can be seen as a result of toxic masculinity. Throughout this speech, I will take the time to inform you how it affects men, how we can stop it, and what the outcome would be. Toxic masculinity can affect men anywhere from the ages of 2 until death. Death tolls on men from the experience of traumatic masculinity can range anywhere from violence, workaholism, and even alcoholism in extreme cases. Holloway. The 3 most destructive words that every man receives when he's a boy is when he's told to be a man. By Joe Ehrman, coach and former NFL player. This quote from Joe Ehrman can be taken from a life perspective of being around men every day and seeing how hard it is. By trying your best every day to not let your emotions get the best of you, it can get tiring putting on a mask. Toxic masculinity will eventually become a bigger barrier to mental health and creating criminals at the same time. The need for domination and extreme competition is paired with toxic masculinity in cases of aggression and problematic preferences in men. Coopers. The psychological difference in men who were raised in an open and carefree home versus a home where they were taught no better than to be a strong man who provides for his family and never sheds a tear is astounding. Beginning at a young age, boys who were taught to be open and free with their emotions tend to be happier and have better mental health possibilities, while those who are raised towards confinement in their emotions and told to be strong and repeatedly told that boys will be boys and are more likely to suffer from from mental illnesses such as depression and anxiety. For men, depression and anxiety will only create foregoing issues such as alcoholism and extending violence. This is where we realize there has to be a solution, and there are many. One of the more obvious ways to prevent toxic masculinity from spreading is to be more open with your children and exposing them to emotional material. When you raise your boys to be closed off and secluded from their emotions, their perspective on the world tends to be negative and they tend to push people away. As a way to show stress and frustration when you were younger, you tend to get violent and use noise as a way to get attention. As a man, aggression becomes more powerful the less you do it. Masculine ideals, such as the restriction of emotion, expression, and the pressure to conform of expectations of dominance and aggression, may heighten the potential for boys to engage in general acts of violence, including but not limited to bullying, assault, and or verbal aggression. Feeder, Levin, and Dean, 2010. Preventing this blockage of emotion in boys will essentially prevent the formation of psychological issues that have a probability of spiraling into violence. The violence issue is more than likely going to affect the people surrounding the man rather than the man himself. When you fix this issue, the emotional instability of men, some social issues, and physical human relationships become better and create a sense of utopia. In realizing the social issues within toxic masculinity and fixing them, we can soon see how positively society would be affected. With the ability to prevent some mental illnesses such as workaholism, alcoholism, depression, anxiety, everyone would ultimately be happier. In statements I have provided before, alcoholism, workaholism, and violence all stem from toxic masculinity. And in reducing the chances of these turnouts, the world and society are both safer. The psychological effect of eliminating this form of emotional oppression would be immaculate. Relationships between men and women, men and other men, or humans in general would be better and create a stronger bond. When you stop holding in emotions and become comfortable sharing your opinions and how you're feeling, the world opens up. All around the globe, men are struggling to be who they are and stand up for what they believe in emotionally and in a positive way. Men tend to think that the only way they can get their point across is to be aggressive about it and establish their dominance. Enabling yourself to be emotional and be yourself opens up so many opportunities. Being open about who you are and what interests you will lead you towards a positive path in life. Social issues and human relationships are almost no match for what could happen if we got rid of toxic masculinity. Men are sensitive to their emotions, so much so they hide them from everyone they know. As seeing that men are rarely in solitude and refuse to seek counseling, the issue is only growing. We as a society can stop this issue by acknowledging the problem, seeing how negatively it's affecting society, and take action to fix it. These steps can be applied to almost anything, but seem to be most effective towards social issues.